Welcome to Love Lies Chronicles.
I'd love to know what you think. Every comment helps me make the next story better. Subscribe to stay tuned. I was pulling into the driveway when Rachel texted me. Dinner guest tonight. 7:30, dress nice. That was strange. We didn't usually have people over on Tuesday nights. I walked in through the garage and found her in the kitchen, wearing a dress I'd never seen before. Makeup, hair done. For a Tuesday. Who's coming over? I asked. His name is Doug. He's been really supportive during our rough patch. I set my keys on the counter. What rough patch? She didn't look at me. You know, us. We've been distant. Have we? Keith, don't make this difficult. He's just a friend. You two should meet. I watched her pull out the good plates. The ones we used maybe twice a year. She was humming. Actually humming. I couldn't remember the last time I'd seen her this energized about anything involving our home. How did you meet Doug? I asked. At the gym. 3 months ago. He's been a good listener. 3 months. She'd been going to the gym more lately. Coming home later. New workout clothes. I'd thought she was just getting serious about fitness. The doorbell rang at exactly 7:30. Rachel practically ran to answer it. I followed slowly. Doug stood on our porch in a pressed shirt and expensive watch. Confident smile. The kind of guy who knows he looks good. Keith, this is Doug. Doug, my husband Keith. We shook hands. His grip was firm. Practiced. The kind of handshake that said he'd been preparing for this moment. Dinner was Italian. Rachel made pasta from scratch. Something she never did. She kept finding reasons to touch Doug's arm. To laugh at his jokes. They had inside references. Remember when we? Followed by laughter I wasn't part of. I excused myself after the main course. Went upstairs to our bedroom. Pulled out my phone and logged into our credit card accounts. We kept our finances mostly separate. My accounts, her accounts, and one joint checking for bills. But I could see her spending patterns. And what I saw made my stomach drop. 3 months of restaurant charges. $200 here. $350 there. Always amounts that suggested 2 people. Multiple hotel charges. The Ritz-Carlton Cherry Creek. $450. We lived 15 minutes from there. I scrolled back further. 6 months of this. Concert tickets. Tiffany and Company. Spa packages. The total at the bottom made me blink. $47,000. All on her personal credit card. Her name only. But $47,000 in 6 months. I heard laughter downstairs. Rachel's laugh. The one she used to save for me. I went to my filing cabinet. Pulled out the house deed. My name. Purchased 1 year before we got married. Then the prenup. My father had insisted. Rachel signed it without much argument back then. I made 3 calls. Left a voicemail for Roger, my attorney buddy. Checked my bank balance through the automated system. Called a locksmith and booked them for Thursday morning. Then I went back downstairs. They barely noticed I'd been gone. Doug was telling some story about his weekend in Vail. Rachel was leaning forward, completely absorbed. I sat down and ate my dessert. So how long have you two been spending time together? I asked. Rachel glanced at me. I told you. About 3 months. And you've been very supportive? During our rough patch? Doug nodded. Just being a friend. Just a friend, I repeated. Rachel's hand touched his arm again. A light touch. Familiar. After dessert, Doug stood to leave. I stood too. Doug, can I talk to you for a second? I walked him to the door. Rachel followed, looking confused. Thank you for being so supportive, I said. Doug grinned. No problem, man. Rachel's great. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my house keys. All of them. Front door, back door, garage. I placed them in his hand. Congratulations. She's all yours. His smile faltered. What? The house, the wife, everything. She's yours now, including her $47,000 credit card debt I just separated from. I pulled out my phone, showed him the credit card statement. Every charge, every hotel, every dinner. Doug's face went pale. The keys hung loose in his hand. Rachel grabbed my arm. Keith, what are you doing? I ignored her, kept my eyes on Doug. 6 months of hotels and restaurants. All in her name. You thought you were getting the house too, right? I showed him the deed. My name. Bought before we married. Prenup's ironclad. Doug tried to hand back the keys. Man, I don't want any part of this. Too late. You've been part of it for 3 months. He looked at Rachel. You said you were separated. We basically are, she said. You said the house was yours. It's complicated. It's not complicated, I said. It's mine. And so is the decision to end this. Doug dropped the keys on the floor. I'm out. He walked to his car without looking back. Rachel stood in the doorway, frozen. You might want to pick those up, I said. You'll need them until Friday. She turned on me. What the hell was that? That was me understanding what's been happening. I pulled out the printed credit card statement. Handed it to her. $47,000, Rachel. In 6 months. She stared at the paper. You're spying on me? It's not spying when you're paying for hotel rooms 15 minutes from our house. We've been having problems. We've been having problems since you started sleeping with Doug. It's not what you think. Ritz-Carlton for $450. Multiple times. What am I supposed to think? She started crying. Real tears. But I'd seen her cry before when she wanted something. We can fix this, she said. No. You broke it. I'm just acknowledging it's broken. I slept in the guest room that night. Wednesday morning I met Roger at Steuben's for breakfast. You have a prenup? He asked, looking at the documents I'd brought. My dad insisted. Best decision I ever made. Roger reviewed everything. The house deed. The prenup. Our separate accounts. This is straightforward. Do you have proof of the affair? I showed him the credit card statement. This helps. But we need more. Something definitive. Like what? Admission. Confession. Something written. I thought about her phone. She left it in the nightstand when she showered. I might be able to find something, I said. That evening I came home to an empty house. Rachel's car was gone. Her phone sat on the nightstand. I knew her passcode. Our anniversary date. The text thread with Doug started that morning. Your husband knows everything, Doug had written. I know. I'm sorry I lied about being separated. And the $47,000. I'll figure it out. I can't do this. You're still married and broke. Please don't give up on us. There is no us. Good luck with everything. I scrolled back 3 months. Explicit messages. Plans. I love you. Complaints about me. One text stopped me cold. Once I get the house and the divorce, we'll be set. Another one. He doesn't know about any of this. He's clueless. I photographed 20 messages. Put the phone back exactly where I'd found it. Rachel came home with takeout. I got dinner. We need to talk. Okay. She sat down with her prepared speech. I think we should separate for a while. Okay. She looked surprised. Just like that. What do you want me to say? I think I should stay in the house. You can find an apartment. No. It's the least you can do. The house is mine. Check the deed. We're married. That makes it marital property. Not with a prenup. Roger explained it to me this morning. Her expression changed. You talked to a lawyer? You talked to Doug about getting the house in a divorce. I figured I should talk to an actual attorney. You went through my phone. You left it on the nightstand. She stood up. That's invasion of privacy. That's evidence. I slid a folder across the table. Divorce papers. Filed this afternoon. Her hands shook as she opened it. Divorce petition. Colorado District Court. Grounds listed as irreconcilable differences and adultery. Exhibit A was the credit card statement. Exhibit B was the printed text messages. You have 21 days to respond, I said. What about the house? What about it? It's mine. I live here. You have until Friday to pack your things. You can collect the rest later. You can't kick me out of my own home. It's not your home. Check the prenup. Section 7, paragraph 3. She found the clause. Read it twice. I signed this 6 years ago. Your attorney reviewed it before you signed. Roger says it's completely enforceable. Where am I supposed to go? Call Doug. Oh wait, he already told you he's out. You're being cruel. I'm being factual. Thursday morning, I took the day off. The locksmith arrived at 9. Rachel pulled up while he was working on the front door. What is he doing? Changing the locks. You can't do this. I can. And I am. She turned to the locksmith. He can't lock me out of my house. The locksmith looked uncomfortable. Sir, is this your property? I showed him the deed. He continued working. Rachel called her mother. I heard her on the phone. Mom, he's kicking me out. I don't know. Can I stay with you? The locksmith handed me 3 new keys. I kept one and pocketed the others. You have until 5 today, I told Rachel. After that, I'll pack what's left. She spent the afternoon throwing things into suitcases. I sat in the living room, documenting everything on video. The credit cards are maxed out, she said. I can't afford a hotel. That's unfortunate. I made a mistake. Can we please talk about this? We are talking. You're packing. I'm watching. I never slept with him. I showed her the phone screenshots. These messages say otherwise. Those were just fantasies. Ritz-Carlton. For separate times. $450 each. We just talked. You paid $450 to talk in a hotel room? She went silent. What about the credit card debt? She finally asked. What about it? We're married. You're partially responsible. Roger checked. Colorado law says individual credit cards remain individual responsibility, especially with a prenup. I can't pay $47,000. You should have thought about that before spending it. By 5 o'clock her car was packed. She stood in the driveway. Keith, please. 6 years. That has to mean something. It did mean something. Past tense. I'll go to counseling. There's nothing to fix. It's over. You're going to regret this. I regret wasting 6 years. But that ends today. She got in her car. I asked for her house key. She threw it at me and drove away. Inside, the house was silent. I poured a drink and sat on the couch. My hands shook slightly. First real emotion I'd let myself feel. It's done, I said to the empty room. Friday morning Rachel's mother called. I didn't answer. Her voicemail was angry, threatening court. Her father called next. I answered that one. Keith, what's going on? Rachel says you threw her out. I filed for divorce. She has 21 days to respond. Over what? A rough patch? All marriages have problems. Over $47,000 in debt from a 6-month affair. Silence. That can't be true. I have her text messages admitting it. And credit card statements. There has to be an explanation. There is. She chose someone else. I chose to end the marriage. She's my daughter. And this is my house, my life, and my decision. I hung up. Saturday afternoon Doug showed up at my door. I checked the camera before opening it. Doug, can we talk? No. Just 5 minutes. You've got 3. Say what you came to say. Rachel called me. She's devastated. And she said you're divorcing her over $47,000. I'm divorcing her because she cheated. The $47,000 is just evidence of how long it went on. Look, man, I didn't know she was going to charge all that stuff. But you knew she was married. She said you guys were separated. We lived together. We shared a bed. Did that seem separated? She made it sound like it was over. It wasn't over until she made it over. Now it is. She wants to get back together. With me or with you? With you. What did you tell her? That I can't help her. Smart choice. Time's up. I closed the door. Monday morning Roger called. She filed her response. Contesting the divorce. On what grounds? Claiming reconciliation is possible. Requesting marriage counseling. She's also requesting temporary spousal support. Based on what? Says she's unemployed and has no means of support. She quit her job 4 months ago. Her choice. That's what we'll argue. Hearing is Thursday. Thursday, I wore a suit to Denver County Court. Rachel sat with a public defender. The judge reviewed both filings. Rachel's attorney stood. Your Honor, Mrs. Brennan has no income and no place to live. Roger stood. Your Honor, Mrs. Brennan voluntarily quit her employment 4 months ago. During that time, she accumulated $47,000 in credit card debt on luxury hotels and restaurants while engaged in an extramarital affair. He presented the evidence. We have text messages where Mrs. Brennan explicitly admits to the relationship and discusses plans to obtain the marital home in divorce proceedings. The judge spent several minutes reviewing the documents. Mrs. Brennan, these messages appear quite clear. I love you. Can't wait to see you. Once I get the house and the divorce. What context makes these appropriate? Rachel looked at the floor. Temporary spousal support denied. The respondent created her own financial situation through voluntary unemployment and substantial recreational spending. Outside, Rachel's attorney talked to her quietly. I walked past. She called my name. I kept walking. That evening my doorbell rang. I checked the camera. Rachel's mother standing there with 2 other women I didn't recognize. I opened the door, but stayed in the doorway. Mrs. Collins. We need to discuss this situation. There's nothing to discuss. The court made its decision. One of the other women stepped forward. I'm Rachel's Aunt Patricia. This is completely unacceptable. You're destroying her life. She destroyed the marriage. I'm just responding to that. Over some credit card bills. Patricia's voice rose. That's what marriages are about. Working through financial difficulties together. I pulled out my phone. Showed them the text messages. The ones where Rachel discussed getting the house. The ones where she called me clueless. Mrs. Collins went pale. Those are private, she said weakly. They were evidence in court. The judge read every one. Patricia grabbed Mrs. Collins's arm. Let's go. He's not going to listen. After they left, I called Roger. Rachel's family just showed up at my house. Did they threaten you? No. Just try to guilt me. Ignore them. They can't do anything. I know. I just wanted you to know they're making house calls now. The following Tuesday, I was at Lowe's on South Santa Fe Drive buying new light fixtures when someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around. Rachel's younger brother standing there. Brian. Keith. Got a minute? Not really. Come on, man. 5 minutes. We stepped outside. He leaned against my truck. Rachel's a mess. You know that. I know she's working 2 jobs to pay off debt she created. She made a mistake. She made a choice. Multiple choices. Every day for 6 months. She's still my sister. And she was my wife. Until she decided to change that. Brian kicked at the pavement. Mom says you have text messages. The court has text messages. I just provided them. Can I see them? No. Why not? Because this isn't your business, Brian. It's between Rachel and me. Actually, it was between us. Now it's just legal proceedings. She says you won't even talk to her. There's nothing to say. You were together 8 years. 6 years married. 2 dating. And she spent the last 6 months of it with someone else. Brian stood up straight. If you ever need anything. I mean, if you want to talk. I appreciate that. But I'm good. He nodded and walked away. I loaded the light fixtures and drove home. Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Heavy breathing. Then Rachel's voice. I lost my job at Target. Silence. Keith, are you there? I'm here. Why are you calling me? I don't know who else to call. Call your mother. Call your sister. Call a friend. They're all tired of hearing about it. Rachel, I'm not your support system anymore. I just need someone to talk to. Then call a therapist. I mean that genuinely. You should talk to someone professional. I can't afford a therapist. Then call a free crisis line. But you can't call me. Why are you so cold? I'm not cold. I'm done. There's a difference. I hung up. Blocked the number. Friday evening, I met my friend Carl at Historian's Ale House on South Pearl Street. We'd been friends since college, but hadn't seen each other in months. So I heard you're getting divorced, he said after we ordered. Almost done. Just waiting on final paperwork. Rachel's been calling my wife. Saying what? That you're being unreasonable. That you won't even discuss reconciliation. There's nothing to reconcile. Carl took a drink. She mentioned wanting to meet up. To talk about you. Emily shut that down pretty quick. Good for Emily. Emily said Rachel sounded desperate. Asked if we could lend her money. Did you? Hell no. Emily told her we're not getting in the middle of it. I appreciate that. For what it's worth, man, you seem better. Lighter somehow. I am better. Best I've felt in years. Even with all this legal stuff happening. The legal stuff is just paperwork. The hard part was accepting the marriage was over. Once I did that, everything else was just logistics. Carl raised his glass. To logistics. I clinked my glass against his. To logistics. The next morning I was at Starbucks on East Colfax getting coffee when I overheard 2 women talking in line behind me. Did you hear about Rachel Brennan? The one who works at Watercourse? Yeah. Apparently her husband divorced her and took everything. That's awful. I heard she was cheating on him. Spent like $50,000 on hotels. No way. That's what someone told me. Said he had proof and everything. I grabbed my coffee and walked out. Small city. People talk. I wasn't surprised Rachel's version of events wasn't matching reality. 2 weeks later, I received a forwarded letter. Collection agency contacting Rachel about the credit card debt. $47,000 was now $49,000 with late fees. I forwarded it to her mother's address. Week 4, Roger called with an offer. She wants to settle. I'm listening. She'll agree to divorce terms if you pay $20,000 toward the credit card debt. No. He said she's willing to negotiate. No amount. 0. She spent it. She pays it. He mentioned she's considering bankruptcy. Not my problem. That was my response to. We're proceeding to trial. I ran into mutual friends at Steuben's that Friday. Amy and Thomas approached my table. Keith, we heard about the divorce. Word travels. Rachel called Amy. She's pretty upset. I imagine she is. She said you kicked her out with nowhere to go. I filed for divorce and asked her to leave my house. Amy looked uncertain. She said it was over a misunderstanding. I pulled out my phone, showed them the credit card statement. $47,000 in 6 months. Hotels, dinners, gifts, all while seeing Doug Hastings. Amy's expression changed. Oh, we didn't know, Thomas said. Most people don't. She's good at editing the story. She told us you were controlling about money. We had separate accounts. She spent what she wanted. This is what she wanted. Awkward silence. We're sorry, Thomas said. We had no idea. Not your fault. You believed a friend. Monday morning, I went to my bank to update account information. Remove Rachel from any shared documents. The banker was a guy named Philip I'd worked with for years. Heard you're going through a divorce. Sorry, man. It's fine. Actually better than fine. Yeah. Turns out being married to the wrong person is worse than being single. Philip laughed. My ex-wife used to say I loved my car more than her. I told her the car never lied to me. Did that help? Made her madder. But I kept the car in the divorce. We updated everything. Took Rachel's name off emergency contacts. Changed beneficiaries. Felt good watching her name disappear from my accounts one by one. All set, Philip said. You're completely solo on everything now. Perfect. Walking out, I felt lighter. Each severed connection was another step toward complete separation. Legal, financial, emotional, all of it fading into past tense. The next week I was loading groceries at King Soopers when Rachel's sister found me in the parking lot. Keith, we need to talk. Hi, Jennifer. You know she's living in my mom's basement, right? I kept loading bags. I didn't know that. She's working at Target, making minimum wage. Good. Employment is important. She can barely afford gas. Jennifer, she spent $47,000 in 6 months on another man. She planned to take my house. She called me clueless in text messages. Why would I care about her gas money? She made a mistake. She made hundreds of mistakes. Daily. For 6 months. She's family. She was my family. She decided to end that. The credit card company is threatening to sue. Then she should probably make payments. With what money? The money she earns at Target. Like millions of other people. You're really just walking away? I already walked away. This conversation is you following me. I got in my truck and drove off. Week 7. I was at Whole Foods on Union Boulevard picking up dinner when I saw Doug in the produce section. He saw me at the same time. Started to walk away. Then stopped. Turned around. Keith. Doug. Look, I just want to say something. I put a bag of apples in my cart. Waited. I didn't know. About the debt. About the house situation. About any of it. Okay. She told me you guys were basically roommates. That the marriage was over. That you'd both moved on. And you believed her? I had no reason not to. She wore a wedding ring. She said it was complicated. It wasn't complicated. She was married. You were sleeping with a married woman. Doug looked at the floor. Yeah. That what you wanted to say? I guess I just wanted you to know I'm not a bad guy. Doug, I don't care if you're a bad guy or a good guy. You're just a guy who made bad choices. Same as Rachel. Same as a lot of people. She's called me a few times. Asking for help. What did you tell her? That I can't. That it wouldn't be right. Smart. Is she really that broke? According to her family, yes. Doug shook his head. $47,000. I had no idea she was spending that much. Neither did I until I checked the statements. Man, I'm sorry. For all of it. I believe you. Doesn't change anything, but I believe you. We stood there for a moment. Nothing left to say. Take care, I said. You too. I finished my shopping. Doug was gone when I got to the checkout line. Week 8. Roger called with a final offer. She'll agree to everything. No spousal support. No asset claims. Clean divorce. She wants one thing. What? A written statement that you won't pursue her for any shared debts. There are no shared debts. Correct. But she wants it in writing for the credit card company. Will it cost me anything? No. It's just confirming what's already legally true. Fine. Whatever ends this faster. I'll draft it. She'll sign this week. The paperwork came through on a Wednesday. Roger called to confirm. She signed everything. Clean break. No strings. How did she seem? Her attorney said she's struggling. Lost one of her jobs. Behind on the payment plan with the credit card company. That's unfortunate. You sound like you mean that. I do. I'm not happy she's suffering. I'm just done being responsible for fixing it. Fair enough. Paperwork goes to the judge next week. You'll be officially divorced by end of month. I hung up and stared out the window for a while. 8 years. Over. Just paperwork and signatures and court stamps. That weekend I drove up to Estes Park. Rented a cabin for 2 nights. No cell service. No internet. Just me and the mountains and complete quiet. I hiked Bear Lake Trail on Saturday. Stopped at the overlook and just sat there for an hour. Watched the wind move through the trees. Listened to the water. Felt the sun on my face. A family walked past. Kids laughing. Parents holding hands. Once upon a time I'd imagined that being Rachel and me someday. Now I couldn't even remember why I'd wanted it. Sunday morning I packed up and drove back to Denver. Stopped at a diner in Lyons. Small place. Counter service. Ordered eggs and coffee. The waitress was probably 60. Gray hair. Kind eyes. You here alone, honey? Just me. Vacation? Something like that. Well, you look peaceful. That's good. I feel peaceful. That's better. She smiled and refilled my coffee. I left a big tip. Back in Denver, I stopped at Target to pick up some supplies. Different location from where Rachel had worked. Walked past the sporting goods section and saw camping gear on sale. I bought a tent, sleeping bag, portable stove. Stuff I'd always wanted to try but never got around to. Rachel wasn't interested in camping. Said it was uncomfortable. Too many bugs. Now I could just buy it and go. No discussion needed. At home, I set everything up in the living room. Practiced putting up the tent. Watched a YouTube video on proper camping techniques. Felt like a kid again. Excited about something new. My phone rang. Roger. Final decree came through. You're officially divorced as of this morning. That was fast. Judge signed off Friday. Paperwork processed today. It's done. Thanks for everything, Roger. Anytime. Buy me a beer sometime. I will. I sat down on the couch. Looked around the house. My house. No more negotiations. No more compromise on furniture or paint colors or what to watch on TV. Just mine. I ordered pizza. Drank a beer. Watched a documentary about space. Went to bed early. Slept through the night for the first time in months. For months later, I was jogging through Washington Park on a Saturday morning. Down 18 pounds. Felt stronger than I had in years. I'd bought new furniture. Got promoted at work. Started a weekly poker game with friends. Life had rhythm again. And peace. I saw Doug at the gym one afternoon. He was on a treadmill. Noticed me and looked uncomfortable. I nodded once. He left early. No conversation needed. Saturday I stopped at Watercourse Foods to pick up takeout. Rachel walked out from the back in a work uniform. We saw each other at the same time. She froze. I stayed calm. She looked thinner. Tired. Hair pulled back. Keith. Rachel. Long pause. You look good, she said. Thanks. How are you? Getting by. Working 2 jobs. I heard. The credit card company settled. Payment plan. That's good. Bankruptcy attorney said it was my only option. I nodded but didn't speak. I'm sorry. For all of it. Okay. Do you ever think about? No. She looked at the floor. Rachel, I hope you figure things out. I really do. But that's not my job anymore. They called my order number. I grabbed my food. Take care of yourself. I walked out. Didn't look back. That evening I sat on my back porch with a beer. Watched the sunset over the mountains. The anger was gone. The hurt was gone. Just peace. My phone buzzed. Text from Roger. Divorce finalized. Papers filed Friday. Congratulations. I stared at the message for a while. 8 years of marriage ending with a text message about paperwork. But I didn't feel sad. Just relieved. I typed back. Thanks for everything. Easiest case I've handled. You knew what you wanted. I knew what I didn't want. That was enough. Sunday morning I drove to REI and bought hiking gear. Planning a trip to Rocky Mountain National Park next weekend. Something I'd always wanted to do. Rachel always said it was too far, too much trouble. Now I just decided and went. I loaded the gear into my truck and sat for a moment. Realized I was smiling. Not because of revenge. Not because she was struggling. Because I was free. Free to make choices without negotiation. Free to spend money on what mattered to me. Free to plan weekends without compromise. I started the truck and drove toward the mountains visible in the distance. Not looking in the rearview mirror. Just forward. Where I should have been looking all along. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.